Let's welcome Kei Han Lee.
I'm about to play for you a piece of music that means more to me than I can express in words. It's called Le Sapin, or The Spruce, from a collection of piano miniatures colloquially titled The Trees, Opus 75, by Finnish composer Jean Sibelius. But before I play, I'd like to first share with you the journey that led me to this moment. Music and art have been integral to my entire life. I began ballet lessons when I was just 3 years old and eventually worked my way up the ranks to become a principal dancer in a pre-professional ballet program in high school. I began playing the piano at 5 years old and the violin at 9. During the earlier years of my life, the piano was my main focus, or at least it was certainly the activity that I felt I was the best at. Throughout my childhood and into high school, I was steeped in practice and exams, participating in 3 to 4 state and national piano competitions and auditions every year. That intense environment taught me something important, that music was about being perfect. It was about being the best. And for many years, this mindset drove me to strive for flawless performance after flawless performance. And it led me to achieve some pretty amazing things. But it also set me up for failure. In 2020, I had an experience that would change my entire perception of music. I was asked to perform on the piano at a gala for the ballet program that I had danced with in high school. I was accompanying 3 dancers on stage, playing Beethoven, and everything started out fine. Halfway through the performance, something terrible happened. I started thinking about if I was playing all of the right notes. I thought to myself, don't mess up, do not mess up. I thought about the audience members who had paid to be there to watch me not mess up, and about the guest musicians from the local symphony watching me play. As a result, I completely lost my place in the music. All at once, all the notes flew out of my fingers and my brain, and it was as if I had never played the piano before. I fumbled around, desperately trying to regain my footing while the dancers had to improvise on stage. I had to start the middle development section maybe 4 or 5 times before I could finally get the thing off the ground. And at one point, I just stopped playing entirely. That silence was horrifying. The whole thing probably only lasted around 30 seconds, but to me it felt like an eternity. I was mortified. It was perhaps the most embarrassing, disheartening moment of my entire life. That night after the performance, I cried and I cried for hours in my car, too ashamed to even go home and face my parents. I decided that night that I could not do this again. There was no way that I would put myself in a situation like that again, ever. I didn't touch a piano for about a year after that. It was the first time in my life where I wasn't playing the piano since I began at 5 years old. Instead, I turned to my violin. I focused on it, and I found a new sense of purpose. In college, I became the concertmaster of my university orchestra, and I had the opportunity to play a concerto as a soloist along with the symphony. I was very actively involved in chamber music, and I even composed my first 4-movement string quartet, performing it alongside some friends at my senior recital. But all the while, the piano, my first love, remained silent. It felt too painful, too vulnerable to go back to. For a long time, I couldn't even look at a piano without tearing up a little bit. I didn't learn any new repertoire or seriously practice the piano for over 3 years because of this singular event. And then, last year, I discovered the spruce. When I first heard this piece by Sibelius, something in me shifted. Now, Sibelius isn't really known for his piano works. He's much more famous for his complex orchestral pieces and tone poems. In fact, Sibelius himself famously said that the piano cannot sing, so his piano works are not performed very often. But there was something special that drew me to this particular piece. There was a simplicity and an innocence in the music, a warmth and nostalgia that immediately resonated with me. It was like hearing a story that I had almost forgotten, a story of joy and freedom and childlike wonder. I began listening to it constantly, on the train, walking to the grocery store, sitting alone in my apartment, and with each listen, I began to feel the playful, carefree spirit of my younger self returning. I felt my soul dancing again. I remembered the joy I once felt playing the piano for the sheer love of it and for how it made me feel, not for anyone else's approval except my own. And so I began learning it, not with the pressure to be perfect or impressive, not with the fear of failure, but with the intent to enjoy and express myself once again through this beautiful instrument. As I stand here in front of all of you today, I realize that this is going to be my first performance on the piano since that fateful night in 2020. But this time, it's going to be different. This time, I'm not aiming for perfection. I'm simply going to let the music come out of me and rediscover the joy that music has always given me. The joy of liberation, of emotion, of expression. This piece has not only repaired my relationship with the piano, it has reminded me that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to play music that I want to play, even if it isn't the most complex or impressive music. It has shown me that music is about sharing a piece of your soul, not meeting an impossible standard. So, thank you for letting me share this moment with you. I really hope that you enjoy the music and that it touches something in you as it has touched me. This is 5 Pieces for Piano, Opus 75, number 5, The Spruce by Jean Sibelius.